afternoon.
It's morning.
Good morning. I was inspired by Good Morning Vietnam.
Yeah.
Robin Williams. This guy was just doing it all morning. It just got me inspired. If you haven't seen that movie, check it out. Great movie. Welcome to GGI Live, episode 22, where we're going to be talking about 3 tips for project management. But before we get started, what we always need to say is
A quote.
yes.
That is right.
The best preparation for tomorrow is doing your best today by Ace Jackson Brown Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And even when you talk about luck, being prepared is when luck is just being prepared when an opportunity arises, right? So preparation is key.
Yep.
Right?
People see it as luck, but really they don't see the grind. You know, they talk about that becoming a success story overnight, but they didn't see the last, 15 years of work.
Exactly.
So,
it's like we could throw so many things out. You see the glacier, and you'll see, the top part, and then you'll see all that below it, right? So all that work, that grind that no one else sees as your journey to the top, wherever you're going, right, happens. No one sees all that work. They just see that success. So that's why it's a quote-unquote overnight success. But today, we are here to talk about 3 tips to make your project management efficient. And that's key. We are going to be, if you're buying, you're fixing and selling, or you're buying, fixing, and renting, whatever it may be, you need to make sure you have a system that works and that keeps you efficient timeline-wise, budget-wise, and all of that. So here, go get it. Where dreams are big, but taking action is bigger. We have systems that we've proven over doing multiple projects, and that's what we're going to touch on. 3 tips, guys. So stay tuned. Okay, let's go
Stay tuned. Stay here.
Yeah.
Stay here, guys.
Yes.
It's not going to be long, and you're going to learn tons of value.
Okay.
We got our rag today.
We're very, very preprepared today.
We took Ace Jackson Brown Jr.'s advice, and yesterday we found the rag.
Exactly.
That's right. That's what we did.
So we were preparing yesterday to be our best today.
We have a surprise for you guys.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. I don't know when it's going to happen, but we have a surprise, okay? Keeping you on the edge of your seat.
Tip number 1. Okay, and this is mainly to keep yourself in line with your time. So keep yourself, if you're doing like 6, 5, even 2 projects at a time, deadlines and how to keep your contractors in line is important, right? So what you need to do is, before you even buy the property, is the contract. And within the contract is what we call the Schedule A. And this is what we teach all our students one-on-one. We give them our Schedule A that we've just added this, right? So what we do is you got your traditional offer to purchase, and you write the offer. And what you want to do is add a Schedule A where it says 2 things. We actually had 3, but that's another topic. But the 2 things relating to project management is, 1, is we have the right to do 2 walkthroughs before we actually take possession of the property. That's huge, because now what you can do on your first walkthrough is our project manager will go in, he'll walk around. In this case, it's Tay right now, right? So he'll walk around, take the scopes, take measurements, detailed measurements, create an idea of what we want to do with kind of a template we already have, and get a detailed scope of work, which we'll touch on later. And then that scope of work is very nice. It's very nice. And then what he's going to do is, on the second walkthrough, bid the contractors with that scope of work that he's created, and he's ready to go. Now we've got a contractor, we've got the scope of work, materials already ordered. So when possession comes, we just hit the ground running, right? You're not ordering your kitchen on possession day, blah, blah, blah. That puts you 2 weeks behind. As soon as possession day, you come in and you're rolling. Okay, that's huge. The second thing is we have the right to call the city and order and get the process of permits going, even though the title has a transfer, because we have a solid OTP. It's already blah, blah, blah. The seller is giving us that permission. We just call the city up and saying, hey, we're going to be renovating. We want to get that process going. Okay, how bad is it to deal with the city sometimes?
Oh, the city is your unwanted business partner.
Exactly. So instead of having that problem, I mean, you're still going to run into problems, but this will help you a lot with the timeline wise as well, which is huge, right? So that is tip number 1, what you want to put into your Schedule A to keep your timeline right.
Absolutely.
What is tip number 2?
I don't know. Who wants to take this pen?
I guess the surprise is coming in.
Oh, hello, everybody. Can't have GGI live without me. So we have to make sure, give you guys a little surprise, say.
I can see their smiles.
Yeah, I can see all of you guys. Oh, wow, the viewers just went up. 10x. Okay, Saran Ratna here. Good to see you all. Thanks for joining GGI Live. So we got number 2. And this is hire the right contractor, hiring professionals, right?
Yes.
So let's go hire right. Okay.
Very important.
Number 2. So hire right. And it's very important to do this. And this is a big tip that I can get you, right? Don't worry about trying to just mitigate those like $1 or $2 grand of costs, right? Spend the extra $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 and hire the right guys, because what's going to happen if you don't hire the professionals and you hire amateurs is you're going to actually end up spending that extra $5,000 in your time and your management and redoing things. And I'm speaking from experience. We're speaking from experience, right? Mm-hmm. So make sure you're hiring the right professionals. And making sure that they're licensed. Maybe you want someone that has a payroll, right? These things are very, very important when you're looking for your contractors. And don't get me wrong, sometimes you may hire a professional and things go south, but if you have the right systems in place, asking the right interview questions, going down to their projects, seeing what they've done, talking to their employees, talking to some of their clients, all these things are going to give you a better picture of how they are and how they operate their business. Because we always do business with individuals that follow our core values and, take their business serious and want to build long-lasting relationships and not just looking at the short-term goals. So make sure you're hiring right and hiring professionals. That's my number 2 tip for you today.
Kaboom!
Absolutely.
Huge value. Thank you, Mr. Trevor. Looking good and giving value. I appreciate that. We're looking forward to seeing you this weekend.
Absolutely.
Thanks, sir.
We're going to be dropping more value.
Number 3.
Number 3.
What is number 3?
Well,
let's take a little swapperoo.
I'm going to step out of here.
Oh, okay.
I got another.
Oh, there's a surprise.
Just to add on to number 2 a little bit, an example, a way to kind of think about this in a simple form is if you pay a guy who does flooring every day to install your floor, his quote's going to come in higher because he's charging for his time, because he's a professional in what he does. But if you pay someone who doesn't do this every day but comes in cheaper, now you're paying them to think every single step of the way. I need to move over.
You need to move over.
So I'm cutting camera time off for this guy.
Can't do that.
Not cool. So this guy who doesn't do flooring every day is going to be sitting there, and every move he makes, he's going to be thinking, which in turn takes him longer. And if he's charging you by the hour, well, what's happening now? He's taking more time, which means your bill's going up from what he initially said. He's ambitious. It's not going to look as good as the guy who does it every day.
So you got to redo it.
So now you got to redo some stuff, which you pay him even more money. Yeah. Now you cause headaches. Your hair's turning gray. You got to go buy a hair dye. You got to go explain.
That's what happened to Nam. I just lost my hair.
I took over the renovations after Nam lost his hair. And okay, so tip number 3 is scope of work.
Yeah. I love the scope of work. I sleep with the scope of work.
Yeah. We take turns. And
scope of work. Here. Yeah. Scope of work, it ranges from, I'm going to start 1, it's kind of an agreement thing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to, there we
go. There you go.
Start off with taking quotes, bidding it out, but have a scope of work. This is a final scope of work. So what I've done here is, you finalized everything, and at the end you print it off as nice. It has everything from materials to directions to other contractors involved, what they're taking care of. You want to be as communicative as possible. Make sure your communication is on point so everyone's in the loop. Don't hide anything, because then problems just happen, right? So start off by 1, finalizing a price and finalizing the scope. signing off on their invoice and our own expectation payment schedule agreement, which basically says what we expect and the payment schedule, so we're all in the loop before we get started.
Yeah.
Then we get into the scope of work, what they're going to do, what materials we want them to use. And a lot of times, you know, sometimes you can't use the right material that you put in here, but then I add a little note, little quick tidbit. If we can't find this and they're out of stock at this current time, get something that looks very similar to this, right? So now they know they don't need to call you and say, oh, well, what do you want? This one's out of stock. They can make that call, send me a quick picture, I can give them the blessing, and then we're on our way. Having this eliminates questions, and they can finish a lot faster because now you're not having to drive down there, you're not wasting time, and you can manage a lot at once. So
beautiful.
So what happens if there is a contractor that calls you up and says, oh, you know what? I forgot that, you know, I didn't add this in my quote that I gave you, and you know, it's going to cost a little bit more. And he calls you
and says that it's my problem now, right? And that I need to pay more.
Right.
That's what he's asking.
I mean, that's what would happen, generally speaking.
It sounds like we've had this happen to us. Absolutely. So another thing is keep very effective communication through emails.
Yeah.
Emails. Professionals always say, send that to me in an email, please. Right? They'll never just take a phone conversation for what it is, because when you bring it up in the end, those phone conversations disappear. So basically, having it in an email, but as well having it in your scope of work. I have a page at the back saying what we will cover cost-wise materials. Like, I'm accounting for this. I might not go pick it up, but I've accounted for it. Yeah. So when you give me a quote for $30,000, I'm saying, okay, well, you know, $15,000 will be for material that I've accounted for. So now I'm assuming my rental's going to be $45,000. But on their end of things, it's only $30,000, right? And then at the end, it all works together and you're accounting properly. So in this situation, I say, well, refer back to this email and the scope of work where we both signed off on it saying, you're going to take care of that.
Exactly.
And now they are eating their words and don't really have much to say because they agreed to it.
And they signed off on it.
They signed off on it.
You got them to sign that quote, exactly what we wanted. They agreed to it. They agreed to the payment schedule. They agreed to the expectations. They signed off on it. And now there's no argument there. So if they made a mistake and it wasn't according to the scope of work and there's extra costs related to that mistake, usually by default, we would take the cost, the hit. But because of this thing right here, we don't.
Yeah.
Now they take the cost, and there's nothing that they can really do, right?
That's right. And it's also powerful because if it wasn't down, they would say, we never talked about this, and then I would have to pay for it, like Nam just said. But because I have it in a scope of work, I have it in an email, this actually happened to us where the contractor almost feels bad now, right? And it's not that I'm doing this to be an ass. I mean, we're just being professional and keeping clear communication. Not everyone does this. So he actually responded, this current contractor responded by saying, my bad, yeah, of course I'll take the hit. And, you know, I actually appreciate the professionalism, and he wants to continue working with us now because of that. So he actually appreciated it, and he wants to do better. Didn't make much because he made a couple boo-boos on that one. Call them boo-boos. And, you know, it keeps, I mean, it's up to you if you want to continue working with people, but this is the tool. This is the tool.
Absolutely. So we're going to be talking about this in more detail this coming weekend.
That's right.
You know, we're going to be having a 2-day event. It's a free event where we're going to teach you 3 steps to making $100K a year flipping houses. And we're going to go into, you know, how you find discounted properties, what you should be looking for, the marketing strategies, how to actually repair properties, how to hire contractors, creating a scope of work, all these things, raising capital, all the good stuff about flipping properties and how you can monetize this for your business in the best possible way. We're going to be talking about that this weekend. I've opened it up. We opened it up for only 10 spots. I think there's maybe 8 spots available right now. So if you haven't confirmed with me, I think I have about 25 people that haven't confirmed. Make sure you confirm, because I have a waiting list right now. We have a waiting list right now. and it's going to be a packed house. So just make sure that you confirmed with us. And we're very, very, very excited.
It is.
We're very excited to have that event and pump you guys with crazy amounts of value. Pump it.
How to use other people's money, guys.
Yeah.
Making $100,000 in 1 year.
Exactly. You don't need good credit. You don't need money. We started off with nothing in our bank accounts, pretty much, and living paycheck to paycheck. So. There are ways of doing this, and we mastered these systems, and we want to teach you so that you can become financially literate and financially free, have financial freedom.
Boom.
Boom. Anything else, boys?
I don't think so.
Okay.
You just need to have integrity and be a beast. That's what you need.
That's it. That's it.
There's no such thing as beast mode. There's only beast.
That's it.
That is one thing I learned from Mr. Tim Grover, actually, is Michael Jordan's personal trainer for 15 years.
Okay.
That blew my mind. There's no such thing as beast mode. You're either a beast or
you're not a beast.
You're just mode.
Yeah. We're always beasts here.
But anyways, guys, great.
Yeah, Mike, we're very excited to have you down there.
You and Michelle.
And your wife. That's going to be fantastic.
Super excited. Man. Everyone, thank you for joining us. GGI Live, episode 22. Which is awesome. See you guys this weekend, December 2nd and 3rd, Park West Inn, 525 Dale, 8 to 4. Learn how to make $100K in real estate, guys. Dreams are big, but taking action is
way bigger.
Boom.
That was a good